had a Christian nationalist tell me that I wasn't going to get into heaven. I'd like to redo my formal response. You can keep that heaven then, the one where God turns me away, says I loved too deep, too wide, too soft, too free, I was too open-handed with my empathy, where he says I sat in all the wrong pews or no pews at all, says I showed up for the ones others prayed would fall, because I've seen Jesus, and in places I was told to flee, in jail cells and shelters and broken beliefs. So if your God doesn't want me, I've made my peace. I never needed a mansion or golden streets. I see Jesus in Gaza, and the ones you try to erase, in their brown hands and tear-streaked face. I see Jesus at protest and in hospital tears, but never in your churches and never in your fears. No, I don't need your heaven with its gates of gold if it means walking past the suffering and the cold. You built your heaven somewhere high, but turn this earth to hell, and why? You hoard your power, your comfort, your creed, while children are dying because of your greed. You weaponize the Prince of Peace to wage a war on the least of these. You're so worried about what a sinner deserves, you forgot to follow Jesus' words, the ones that healed, the ones that fed, the ones that broke rules and raised the dead. Jesus who wept, Jesus who stayed, Jesus who washed dirty feet, Jesus who prayed. He touched the leper. He stayed with the shamed. He defended the women the church tried to blame. He flipped tables and shattered religious control. He picked up the lost and made them feel whole. And he didn't say, "Are you pure?" before feeding the crowd. He just said, "Come, all are allowed." But you've made a false God from culture and greed, an all-American Jesus who only loves those he deems clean, so you can keep your Pharisees and your polished facade, your Paul-like prophets and your politicians you've turned into gods. If I must burn, let me burn with the heretics and the healers. Let me march with the dreamers and the believers. Let me vote like every soul deserves a place at the table. Let me love like every person is sacred, not a label. And if your God looks at me and says, "Sorry, you chose compassion over law," then I'll nod and say, "Yeah, because I learned it from Jesus, after all." The Christ I follow was barefoot and brown and radically kind, and he never asked the outcast to leave their heart behind. So if heaven means silence while this world suffers and burns, if it means denying the lessons that he's let me learn, then you can keep that heaven. Mine will be found in the faces of those this world keeps pushing down, in protest and in prayer, in tear gas and in songs, because my Jesus is there, and he says with him is where I belong. Thank you.